want to talk about the Sean Combs trial right now, the sex trafficking trial that continues today here in New York. Now, tomorrow is the last day in court till next Tuesday, with the Memorial Day weekend coming up. The rapper Kid Cudi taking the stand tomorrow, plus court arranging for several witnesses to travel across the country for next week. All right, let's talk about it. We have NewsNation senior national correspondent Laura Ingle at the courthouse, and Randy Zelin, the former prosecutor and the criminal defense attorney, here with me in the studio. All right, welcome to you both. Laura, let me just start with you. We'll talk about tomorrow in a moment, but let me start with you, if you can, on today, and just, you know, what stood out, if anything, to you about today so far.
Yeah, a couple of different witnesses on the stand today. We heard from Dawn Hughes, a lot of people talking about her. She is an expert talking about the psychology behind abusers and those who are abused. She was what's called a blind expert, meaning that she did not have any direct dealings with anybody involved in this case, more just kind of laying down what she could tell jurors about, you know, the relationship between those who are abused and abusers. We also heard from Gerard Gannon, who was an HSI agent, Homeland Security agent, who was a part of the raid on Combs' Miami home, talking about some of the things that he found, which I can get to in a second. But I really think that the headline of the day is the very last witness, who was not on the stand very long, will continue tomorrow, and that is George Kaplan. This is a former executive assistant to Sean Combs, who talked about some of the inner workings about the lifestyle that Sean Combs led, and specifically about how he was used to advance the hotel rooms, meaning he would go to hotel rooms where Sean Combs would go with his guests, and he would provide the baby oil, he would get drugs. He was actually granted immunity. He pled the fifth. Both sides, the prosecution and defense, agreed to let George Kaplan testify and tell all on the witness stand about things that happened with this immunity, so that he could talk about what life was like as he was setting up these rooms. So that was kind of the highlight of the day. Connell.
I wonder, Randy, if something like that, and this is not the first executive assistant or assistant to Sean Combs that's taken the stand, is somehow that you get towards racketeering when you talk about criminal enterprise in his business. What would you say?
To me, I think Post Malone said it best. This is all hat, no cattle. It is a lot of just stuff that doesn't go to the heart of the three charges. And let's take your point, this criminal enterprise.
Right.
Imagine we're watching The Sopranos, and the business of The Sopranos is for Tony Soprano to pleasure himself. That is not the basis of what a crime family does, and that is what Mr. Combs is charged with doing. So where is this enterprise? Where is this business? It's a lot of partying. It's a guy with a lot of money, probably way too much money, way too much ego. If this were simply a New York State, Manhattan, New York County criminal case, charging him with assault, charging him with menacing, it's game over. But it's not, and he's not being charged with cornering the market on baby oil. It's racketeering.
Right.
It is forcing people, coercing people, threatening people, defrauding people into engaging in sex acts for compensation. It's not here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.